Hi, my name is Reena Alatorre. I teach third grade at Fork Shoals School. I think it's important that we as teachers in the elementary level really help our students grow in their intellectual, emotional, and social development because if they have that solid foundation of becoming responsible and balanced and caring and curious learners, that will help them in the long run, whether they are a student or a member of society. We have this family-like atmosphere where we do away with the whole stress and pressure of, oh, a boy can't play with a girl because they might be teased. They know I've got their back. They know that I will stand up for them, whether it's at school or at home or on the bus. So they feel safe in the classroom, and they become like a family in the class where they're like brothers and sisters, and they are there for each other. So I teach them early on that we are there for each other.
Hello, my name is Matthew Boone, and I teach 7th grade English at Northwood Middle School. I remember as a student feeling left out or not knowing what was going on in class. So I think everybody needs a buddy. So I have set up my classroom to have collaborative pairs. So everyone has a buddy, everyone has someone that they can rely on. And I found that this really helps students for those that are struggling. They just need a little extra assistance, a little extra help. And so with this collaborative pairing, everyone has someone that they can rely on. And I found that that really helps. One of the big fun things that I do in one of the units is I do the top secret files. And we are all secret detectives while we read a novel. And so everyone has their agent name, and every day we have secret missions. So they come in, they're looking forward to what is today's secret mission. There's music involved, it's kind of a spy theme. So I had students later that come back and say, oh, I remember Spy Day, it was so much fun. And students really look back at that and think that this is what makes reading fun. It makes it different, makes it interesting.
Hello, my name is Kristen Chambers. I'm a 2nd grade teacher at Plain Elementary. I feel like my greatest rewards come from the learning progress and the learning goals I achieve with my students. Those moments in my classroom where my students are engaged and excited about learning truly are rewarding moments for me and make the planning and the preparation worthwhile. I feel like my students learn from me about a growth mindset from the very beginning of the school year. And we learn that learning is a process, and there are achievements and successes, but there are also mistakes and failures. My greatest rewards come from watching students who truly believe that growth mindset and begin to see the power of learning from those mistakes, and watching a child truly persevere through hardship or difficulties through the learning process is an example of an immeasurable reward for me.
I'm Catherine King. I teach 7th grade social studies at Lakeview Middle School. Risk is the most important thing that students need to learn how to take in a classroom, because there's nothing that we do in life that isn't without risk. And sometimes in economic terms, we call risk opportunity cost. If you choose one thing, then you have to let go of another. And in the meantime, you have to be willing to step up and say, it would be okay for me to be wrong. Because the truth is that all of us are wrong at varying times in our lives. So I say to my students all the time, there are going to be moments in here where I'm wrong, and you will catch me, and that is okay. I want you to do that. So long as we always respect each other and treat each other with understanding and compassion in this space. And it is okay for you to take a risk and be wrong and to make a guess. And when they do that, then they're more engaged in the learning process. And then they're actually getting involved in the material. They're talking to each other. They're saying, well, what if this or what if that, in ways that they never would have if they weren't willing to take that risk.
Hi, my name is Stephanie Martin. I teach 2nd grade at Taylor's Elementary. 2nd grade is my passion, and one of those reasons is because they are getting to be independent learners. They're getting more mature, but they also still love to be silly. They love to hear a great book. They love hugs, which I love to give, and they're still that young at heart. They still love coming to school, and I want to make it fun for them. So that's one of the reasons why. Another reason is the reading aspect. In kindergarten and 1st grade, those foundations have been laid for reading. They do a lot of decoding and, working on words and putting them together to make a sentence. And so they have that foundation, but in second grade is really when the comprehension comes in. And so they start understanding characters and what characters do and why they do it. And so stories just come alive, their reactions as they're reading stories. And I think that's a great thing. And I love to watch them do that. And just to be able to help build that love of literacy.
Molly Mosley, third grade, Brushy Creek Elementary School. When you walk into my classroom, you're going to immediately feel high expectations in place. And really that comes from, we look at two things. We look at integrity and treat each other like you want to be treated. And truly, with the spirit of integrity, we're just trying to be the best that we can be and really look at who am I as a person? So that's the first piece. And then the second piece, with the treat others like you want to be treated, it really covers us from every perspective, academically and socially, everything. If somebody is talking during the middle of a lesson and somebody else can't hear, then it becomes, you wouldn't want to be treated that way. So how can we fix that? But also, as a part of the high expectations, is truly a spirit of grace, is what I call it, because we all mess up and we all have to learn, and that's how we become the best versions of ourselves. I find that a very structured classroom creates freedom and safety for students, and they're actually able to learn in the best environment because they know what's expected of them, what's okay and what's not okay.
Bonjour, je m'appelle Akacia Jaime, j'enseigne le français au lycée de Wade-Hampton. Well, my experiences living in France impact my teaching every day. I get to teach about places I've touched, interactions I've been at the heart of, and a language that I learn immersed in the culture, not from a book. But I think for these reasons, I get to teach my students beyond their textbook and make it relevant to their lives. I love the Building a Better Graduate initiative, but for me, really everything in my classroom, it's a potential way for those students to take their next step before graduation. When immersed in class, they start to learn that multiple languages and learning them is no longer unusual. It's becoming the norm. But even beyond the French, I really think my class prepares my students with valuable skills for their futures, such as a reflective mindset when they start to compare their own language to their newly learned French, or even critical thinking and problem-solving skills when they navigate tests designed to have them solve real-world issues and come up with innovative solutions.
My name is Rick Schwartz. I teach manufacturing and technology at Greer High School. My greatest contribution to education, that's a tough one. If you talk about the physical sense, I've set up a lot of manufacturing and technology type labs and spent a lot of money for some school systems setting up these labs with robotic arms and 3D printers, and there's a huge sense of accomplishment that you get when you're sitting back in the lab and enjoying what you set up and watching the kids enjoy the activities you're doing in there. But I'd say the biggest, though, is a simple email that you get from a kid you taught 10 years ago saying that he's now a foreman for a brick mason company. Matter of fact, I just got one a couple weeks ago from when I taught carpentry. And he's a foreman for a brick mason company. He just wanted to let me know how happy he was with not only his job, but his life. And he just thanked me for steering him in that direction. And so you can't really put a price tag on that, but it certainly feels like a huge sense of accomplishment when you get that email.
Hi, my name is Shelley Smith. I teach social studies at Travel Address High School. Sharing knowledge is essentially what we do. Let's give them the information that they already have access to in a way that makes them confident in being able to read it in their abilities and to be able to work with it. And then let's do something with it. Let's do history. Let's investigate. Let's analyze. Let's read primary sources and create our own examples of document-based questions. Let's simulate the Red Scare in our classroom. Let's find who the communists are. Let's actually work together and talk and share. Let's take a collaborative group quiz. I created these scratch-off quizzes that my students absolutely love. The word love and quiz normally don't go together. My students don't come in normally excited for quizzes, but my students love these quizzes. And they get to work together to come up with a solution, and they get to see if they're right immediately, instant feedback.
My name is Sarah Smoke, and I'm the ESOL teacher at Mitchell Road Elementary School. During my teaching career, I have worked diligently to develop relationships with my students and their families. I find it of utmost importance to make sure that students know that they are appreciated for the unique student that they are. And I have strived to develop relationships with both them and their parents. This has created an environment in my classroom where students, they reach the expectation that I set for them. I have students now who I taught in 2001, 2002, who still contact me for educational advice for their children, or they want advice in their career or moving. And so I feel that my greatest contribution in education is the dedication and the compassion that I have served my students and their families with.